All right, we've got Bailey tabling, and we've got Ellie Garnett here, who wants to get the questions started for the players.
London Mark of the Post. Bailey, you had your second most rebounds in a game this season. What was working so well for you on the boards?
Just kind of tracking the ball. I mean, our post players, or our big players, they do really well at boxing out. So not having to worry about, going up against one of those big girls and just tracking it on where it goes.
Brandon Gross, the Post. Shooting was a struggle early on in this game. How do you think that affected it as the game went down to the line?
I think if we would have hit a couple more shots in the first half as a whole, even the first quarter, I don't think it would have been as close. We would have had more momentum. It would have definitely kept us in the game a little bit better, and I don't think it would have made it go into overtime. But it just shows that we just need to get in the gym and keep practicing our shots.
Mark Goldstein, WAB. Despite the loss, you guys did make the MAC tournament. I know maybe the emotions are a little bit subdued based on the result tonight, but can you talk about what it means to you guys specifically to be able to go play for that conference title in about 2 weeks?
I think it's what it's all about, and we all are striving to get there. So, getting there is awesome, but the job's not done. It's just getting started. So I think we just got to take this one to the chin and keep going.
Ellie, despite the loss, you were able to score 12 points and 7 rebounds. What was your mindset going into the game?
Just to be confident and stay confident. I'm really hard on myself, so I just think giving myself a little more grace, working hard, always gets you good places, so just staying up.
You guys, despite not shooting very well, you guys were in it towards the end. You were kind of chasing, playing catch up in the fourth quarter and then towards the end of overtime. How do you think that you as a team were able to do that well and force overtime, and then where you guys came up short in overtime?
We trust each other a lot, and I think that's really what it came down to at the end of the day is, we had girls make really big plays, but the entire team trusted them to make that play. Whether it was a steal, a layup, a shot, whatever it was, we all trust each other, and I think, just having all that trust was a lot to help it out.
There's 2 overtime games in a row. How does it take a toll on the team?
It's tough just with foul trouble. You get in foul trouble in regulation, and then you're like, I got to be careful because I got a whole 5 minutes to play. But I think next man's up is always ready. I think we have a great bench, so I think it doesn't really take a toll on us. It's 2 L's, 2 losses in overtime, but I think it just prepares us to go and get some wins in Cleveland.
All right, last question to the players.
What was the biggest takeaway from today's game that you guys can use to close out the rest of the season?
You have to have energy the entire time, especially at Akron. We kind of both of these games we started off kind of sloppy and slow in the first quarter. We have to have energy all 40 minutes, and then especially in overtime if we go there. And we just gotta trust each other, and we gotta make our shots.
Just that the little things matter. Free throws, turnovers, energy. Like she said, I think everything comes down to that at the end of the day. It's not just one shot that we miss or one turnover. It's like the little stuff.
I was real pleased with the way we came back and battled. It was unfortunate the way it ended.
Mark Goldstein, WAB. I'll get this started on a more positive note. You guys did clinch the MAC tournament tonight with Eastern Michigan's loss to Miami. Can you talk about what it feels like to get back to Cleveland, to get back to the MAC tournament, and have a chance at winning the conference championship?
I'm happy. I'm happy that we're going to have a chance to play in it. We're going to have to play better basketball up there. But it was something that we wanted to do. We wanted to go to Cleveland, and it sounds like that we're going to get to go to Cleveland in some capacity. So I hope that maybe we can clean some things up. I think rebounding has gotten better. Turnovers still have not, and you just can't win. You just can't win basketball games turning the ball over as much as we turn it over, and shooting it as poorly as we've shot it the last 2 games. So I guess I'm happy that we get that opportunity.
Leonard Mark of the Post. Speaking of turnovers, what do you think you guys can do better to clean up the playing offensively?
I have no idea. I'm sorry, I wish I did. I mean, we've turned it over all year. We've just been careless with the basketball, and that's something that we talk about, and I just don't think that my staff and I are doing a very good job of fixing it. You know, when you do something wrong the entire season, that becomes a coaching problem, and we've done a poor job as a staff, and so all of that stuff starts with me as the person who's supposed to design practices and get us better, and so that's frustrating. You know, we had a bunch of turnovers a week ago. We had a bunch of turnovers tonight, you know, just it's frustrating to turn the ball over and not get to shoot. Even if you are shooting it poorly, you at least would like an opportunity to shoot it. And I thought we were impatient at times. We didn't pass the ball very well, and then that led to some bad shots. But it's something that we're certainly interested in trying to fix, and just not doing a very good job of fixing it.
Brandon Gross with the Post. Reed hit a huge shot to send the game to overtime. What were the emotions on the bench like during that?
I mean, everybody was happy. You know, I was proud of her because she kind of fumbled the first shot, but she stayed with it and had the wherewithal to get the second shot up. And you know, I thought that was you know, that was a fun moment, and I thought we had good energy. Just we couldn't quite sustain that into the, you know, got off to an okay start in the overtime, and then had too many empty possessions the last 4 or 5 possessions of overtime. Just didn't execute and make shots.
What kind of pressure does it put on your team when you're shooting pretty poorly for the first 3 quarters and you're forced to play catch up in the fourth and even towards the end of overtime as well?
Yeah, I mean, that's hard. You know, it's hard to shoot the ball. It's particularly hard to shoot the ball when you missed your last shot, and then when you missed your last 2 shots, and then you missed your last 3 shots. It does kind of build on you. You know, you just try to fight through that. And I'm confident that we will. Obviously, the last 2 shooting games have been a disaster. I don't think that's indicative of who we are, and I think that's something that we'll get shots up tomorrow at practice and Friday before we hit the road, and you know, we'll obviously have to shoot it well to have a chance at our next game, but you know, it's something that we can fix, and shooting's actually a fun thing to try to fix because you get to shoot. You know, boxing out and rebounding's not that much fun to fix, but we can certainly try to shoot it better.
One last question for Coach.
You guys played very aggressive defense in the fourth quarter. What did you say before the quarter to lead to that?
Well, we had a steal in the first quarter, so we were just so passive, and then you know, it's the second game in a row where we've come out and just got blown out in the first quarter and just haven't had enough aggression. Aggression's the non-word, aggressive enough. And I thought we kind of turned that up as the game went on, and you know, we have to learn to do that sooner and not have to make these heroic comebacks to try to get a game into overtime. And obviously, we're not very good at overtime, so we have to figure out a way to win things in regulation and not put ourselves in these predicaments.